So this is my last day with the Niken. I'm a bit gutted actually. I don't know whether you know what this is, but this is a Yamaha Niken. It's a 900cc triple based on the MT-09 and XSR, but allegedly with the crank rework to get more torque at the bottom end. Well, I've got an XSR9 and personally I can't tell the difference between the engines, but then I'm a bit thick really. What it is, basically it's got a new front end on it. As I come round, and as you can see, the difference between this and most other motorbikes, I think probably all other motorbikes, because the only other three-wheel ones are scooters, is that this has got two wheels at the front. Now, this makes it possibly the most Marmite motorcycle you'll ever know, because some people absolutely love it, me being in that category, but then I grew up liking manga cartoons and all that sort of stuff. And other people, it is the most hideous thing on the planet. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. Personally, I think you're completely wrong, but I absolutely love it. But I've heard all sorts of things said about it, like, oh, it's the answer to a question that's never been asked and all this sort of stuff. But bikers are traditionally very, very conservative, and anything that's a bit out of the ordinary, people don't like. They really don't. They get really, oh my god. And unfortunately, I do think this is going to suffer for it, which is a real shame, because when you come down to it, it's makes a change to be able to walk around something and not be blinded, you know, and not fall over anything, because it's quite smooth out here. Yeah, and basically when you come down to it, it's an incredibly good motorcycle. It rides unbelievably well. It's due to that front end. I mean, you wouldn't believe how much grip there is on that front end. The weirdest thing is, once you're on it, within 2 or 3 minutes, tops, you've completely forgotten it's got two wheels on the front. Completely. It just feels like a motorbike. But it feels like a motorbike with massive amounts of grip, which you might think, well, whatever, I don't ride terribly hard. But what it means is when you're out riding and the weather conditions are not fantastic, you completely forget all those little fears you have about, oh, you know, there's niggles in the back of your mind about, you know, slippery manhole covers and greasy bits and shiny tarmac and everything, because the Niken just devours them. It just goes over the top. It takes no notice. It will not shake its head. It doesn't do anything it should do. It shouldn't do, I should say. It's just a lovely thing to ride. I've done, well, by the time it goes back to Woking this afternoon, back to Yamaha, which I'm gutted about because I've loved it. I've had it for 2 weeks and I've done best part of 1,400 miles on it. Which, bear in mind, it's December and it's chuffing cold. In fact, I'm holding my phone to do this camera. My hands are freezing and I've only come maybe a mile. And yeah, it's just such a nice thing to ride. So I've done long days, 400 mile plus days in absolutely horrible weather conditions that would have had me tiptoeing around corners like a 50p piece. But on this, you just ride it. You just ride like a normal motorbike. It's sort of made winter riding for me absolutely fun again. I love it. I absolutely love it. There's not many production bikes that have made me go, I want one of these. It's not, I could have one of these. It's not, well, I'd quite like one of these. It's, I want one of these. It's really just a lovely thing to ride. And I do ride a lot of miles. I mean, most people don't ride anywhere near this mile. Most people have got more sense than to ride the miles that I do. But for me, this is an absolutely brilliant riding bike. I'd have to have a custom as well, because you know, it's a production bike, isn't it? Mind you, saying that, this thing probably gets more looks than most custom bikes anyway. I mean, do not buy one of these if you're a shy and retiring person, because everybody looks at this. It stops small children in the street, old men point at it, women look at it, people look at it going, they either go, wow, with a big grin on their face, or they go, what the fuck is that? But it's one of those things, you know. There's an old saying, isn't there? If you can buy a motorbike and walk away from, park it and walk away from it without looking back, then you bought the wrong one. And the sun's just coming up behind us. This is quite early in the morning. Right, the only thing I'm just going to show you is how wide it is at the front, because it is monstrously wide. But I was thinking about this. I don't think it is. It's just as big for a front end of a bike. But if you imagine, it's only as wide as something like a big Tourer back end or a big Harley's back end. It's just it's in front of you, which means that if you can still filter on it perfectly normally. It's just that you can see what your gap is rather than worrying about it. I'll just turn the clocks on because I want to show you the headlights in a second, because the headlights make it look absolutely evil. And it's got the usual, you know, spaceship display dashboard, so I'll turn it on. With cruise control and ABS and traction control, which I have had working a couple of times. I've nailed it away from junctions, and a power coupling up there, you know, for your phone and all that sort of stuff. I'll just press the button, which is over here. Actually sounds, for a production bike, it sounds quite nice. When you're riding along, it's got that nice triple wail to it. But I like the headlights. And the headlights, you probably won't see them quite as well in this because the foam compensates. But that is the most Terminator Robocop looking thing at the front, isn't it? It really is. It looks evil. It looks like it's frowning at you. It looks like it's about to transform in one of them big robots. But yeah, so today it goes back, which I'm gutted after 2 weeks. And I absolutely love it. Mr. Yamaha, yeah, can I have one for long-term test next year, please? Thank you very much indeed. Nice man. Right, let's just turn it off. And then I can go home, get all my electrical kit on, and do the long haul from Suffolk all the way back to Woking. So that's the Yamaha Niken. Last test bike of the year, I suspect, given that it is nearly Christmas.